So my recommendation, I would have said this 20 years ago, I'll say it 20 years from now, manage your supply chain. Time, delivery, quality, all those aspects.
Here's a second excerpt from my discussions with successful businessman Scott Poenitzsch. All right. And then I'd be interested in what you've seen. So kind of also along the lines of technology changing, what other changes have you seen in the business world as kind of from a management standpoint or the way businesses are run today versus some time back? What's the biggest things you've been seeing that changed?
Well, technology advances, I think, are always coming. Change is something that will always be with us. And I think you need to have a change adaptive organization so you don't get complacent in that stuff. So keep driving the employees forward, embrace the change, because if you don't, you could stagnate and your competitor could leapfrog you, and then you'll be standing there figuring out what just happened. We talk a little bit about the technology also. The 3D printing is coming around. When I remember 3D printing coming to fruition probably 10, 15 years ago, it was really for more of an R&D type of a thing. You'd have a stereolithography machine or other types of technology that you can make a device to hold and touch and see how the pieces gone together, but they were really not functioning models. They were somewhat brittle, like if you dropped it, it would crack and things like that. Today's technology, they can 3D print quite a bit of things that are very robust now. So for those areas that you've got short runs where you can't justify a injection molding tool or a die casting tool or a forging tool, I think 3D technology is a great application to use those things going forward. And
Okay.
I'll say the same thing, supply chain. The longer your supply chain from where you're sourcing your materials from, either your direct materials or other things like that, if you don't manage that supply chain, you're going to run out of something or you're going to have too much of something else. So my recommendation, I would have said this 20 years ago, I'll say it 20 years from now, manage your supply chain. Time, delivery, quality, all those aspects.
Do you think that it's become easier or harder to do that in that over the years?
Things become harder.
It's
So
become
if you
harder.
go back, let's go back, say 40 or 50 years, a lot of companies were vertically integrated. So Ford Motor Company back in the early 20s was a great example. They had their own foundries, they could stamp their own sheet metal, and they would machine it, assemble it. So they only had to reach across to another Ford employee to manage that supply chain, and everything was fairly local. Well, as things got more complex, companies got into more specialization. So they started divorcing the forging, let's say, and the machining operations, but they would push them to suppliers that were, say, within 2 or 3 or 4 hour radius. So if you had a problem with quality or problem with delivery, you literally just had to pick the phone up and talk to somebody, a couple counties, maybe a state over, right? Now, there was a rush back in the 80s and 90s to move production to Mexico. So I can tell you that I was part of that business, getting product across the border in a timely manner. Also, now you're speaking with different cultures and different languages. There could be some of those barriers. So again, another issue of quality, language, getting the technology and the specifications correct. Well, that worked out well, and then all of a sudden there was the push to go to China. So now you've got another longer distance. Now instead of just driving it up from Mexico, you have to worry about ocean freight. You got to worry about export coming out of Hong Kong or coming into Long Beach, California. You've got a number of delay factors. And you have 12 to 14 weeks of lead time. That probably before you only had 14 to 10 days. A lot of people went over there. They got the manufacturers to produce the product, and then there was a quality issue. So then you had to step back and go, how much defects do I have in the supply chain? Is it everything that's at that factory, plus what's on the ocean, plus in my warehouse? So then it would take a lot of time and cost to recover from that, sorting, move it off to the side, and get replenished product coming in. So again, the further you go, the more cultures and the more challenges and the more variations, that supply chain becomes very, very difficult to manage if you don't have a
Hmm.
control over it.